Hey guys, what's up? This is Francisco with Valarizo Capital. And today we're going to go through the weekly watch list. I'm going to share some of the names that I'm going to be watching throughout the week. These are some of the names that I think that if we continue to see some strength in the market, these are going to be some of the leading stocks. So let's just get into it. Remember that all the information that I'm going to share in this video is based on my personal opinion and is not financial advice. So first of all, let's start here with OLN. And many of these stocks that I found that came out of my scans, I usually use MarketSmith to scan for these opportunities. And one theme that I'm starting to see in the market is a theme in chemicals. And we're going to see, I have somewhere around 3 to 4 names in this space. And then I have some names also in the solar space, semiconductors. And then I have some on the transportation sector. And I also, of course, have names in the oil sector that has been the leader in the market that we have been. So let's go back to Thinkorswim where my indicators are at. So here, as you can see, I have OLN, and this is a chemical stock. And most of the stocks that came up in my screens, it's really important to mention that all of these stocks, most of them, I will say somewhere around 90% of these stocks, they have increasing sales and they also have increasing EPS, which is a sign of a company that is actually growing. So that combined with strong technicals usually tend to find really strong leading stocks in the market. So as you can see, for any of you guys that are new to the channel, I use the 200 daily moving average, I use the 50 daily moving average, and then I use the 21 exponential moving average, and then I use the 8 exponential moving average as well. For my volume indicator, I have the Hayes volume indicator by Trader Lion, and then I use the TTM squeeze, which this is actually the Squeeze Pro indicator developed by John Carter. And then I use my momentum indicator, which is the trend oscillator, which is an indicator developed by Sam Shames. So now let's just get into the charts, right? As you can see right here, if you're familiar with the trend oscillator indicator, what you want to see for actually a trending market, you want to see the trend oscillator, which is the green line above that red line right here. And most importantly, you want to see this above that 50 line, which indicates that there's positive momentum in the stock that we're watching in the screen. So as most of you guys know, I usually trade stocks that are actually under a squeeze, because I like to see what the squeeze is telling us is that there's a lot of compression, there's a lot of tight price action going behind the scenes, going in terms of momentum. This is basically using the Kellner channels and the Bollinger Bands. And basically a squeeze happens when the Bollinger Bands are actually trading inside the Kellner channels. So that means that there's a lot of compression in the momentum in the stock at that moment. And as you know, the saying says from contraction comes expansion, and that's actually what the squeeze indicator is telling us. So you can see here OLN, you can see that it is holding that 21 exponential moving average, which is actually a pretty great sign, especially coming into the right side of its base. You can see that we have a base that started somewhere around November. You can see the beautiful cup that we have here. This is a great handle holding that 21 exponential moving average. We have a squeeze and we have a trending momentum indicator. So that's basically a recipe for a winner. But also remember that you have to manage your risk. And I think the best way to manage risk in this position will be to use that 21 exponential moving average. Now let's go into the next name. I have somewhere around 10 to 12 names that I want to show you. So let's go through these ones quickly. The next name that I have in my list is LIN, which is also a chemical stock, related stock. And you can see also that we have a cup. We kind of have a handle. We have a shakeout right here. And you can see that we have a squeeze. This is actually starting to trend above that EMA, which is the red line. And you can see that we held a 21 exponential moving average. The dividend date is out of the way. You can see that we broke above this pivot, this 322 pivot, and now we're trading right below that 330 pivot. And what I'm gonna be looking for is actually a continuation of the breakout, or perhaps a pullback into that 21 exponential moving average, which is gonna be the EMA that I'm gonna use to manage my risk. Now let's go into the next one, which is UMBR, which is UMBR Solutions. And this is also a chemical related stock. And you can see that this is in the early stage of a cup. You can see that we have a squeeze. The momentum indicator is trying to get something going here, but I think that you can get here a little bit early, especially if this pulls back somewhere around that 21 exponential moving average, somewhere around that 30.94. And then perhaps you're gonna be ready for an anticipation of a breakout above 32.28. Now let's go into one solar name that I'm gonna be watching, and that's EMPH. And EMPH has been showing some relative strength in this sector. And you can see, right, that we have the squeeze. The momentum indicator is starting to trade above that midline, above that red line, which is awesome in terms of momentum. And you can see right here that we found some resistance at that 200 daily moving average and that 50 daily moving average. And now we're starting to trend above. And now the next level that we have to break is above that 195. I think that you can position for a breakout, and then you can target and move into the next level of resistance, which is 220. And then you can manage your risk using that 200 daily moving average or that 50 daily moving average as well. Now let's go into one name in the semiconductor space that I'm watching, and that's ON. And you can see right here that we have a squeeze. And what is actually pretty interesting is that you can see that the momentum indicator actually broke right here. And you can see that the trend oscillator has been trading below that red line, which signals that there's negative momentum in the stock, and the trend is actually with a downward bias. Right now, you can see that we're starting to trend above that red line, where this is the first move above that red line. We will need a confirmation to actually anticipate a change in direction in the trend. So you can see that we have the squeeze. We actually have a pretty nice move above that 59 pivot, and probably a retest will be the best way to manage risk, and then target a continuation into the next pivot, which is 68.48. So this is definitely a name that I'm going to be watching on the semiconductor space. And now let's go into the next name that I want to show you, and that's SIM, which is in the transportation, which is in the transport area. And you can see right here, right, we're starting to try to form a cup. We're starting to hold that 50 daily moving average, which is kind of a changing character. Since we broke below it, we haven't been able to hold it. And now we had a move into that 71.39 pivot. And now we're retesting that 50 daily moving average. And what I want to see is perhaps a retest of that moving average of that pivot level of 71.39, and then perhaps this indicator going above the red line, so that we can have a sustained uptrend in this name. Now let's take a look at NFE, which is an oil related name, and this has been in a beautiful uptrend. Well, not very strong as some of the other names like Oxy or BPT or any other names like that, but you can see that this has been trending above the 50. Right here we had a confirmation but the trend oscillator, and you can see that here we held that midline right here into that pullback to that 21 exponential moving average. And you can see that we have a positive momentum. We have positive momentum in the trend oscillator. We have a beautiful squeeze that is forming. You can see that we're holding the 50 daily moving average, and now we're starting to try to break above the 59.30 pivot, and you can see that there's a lot of nice volume coming into the name. So this is definitely a name that I'm going to be watching. Perhaps you can set it up as a breakout trade. I think this one has a high probability of working to the long side. So let's take another look at some of another name in the transport sector, and you can see that this is Eagle. You can see that we actually had a breakout above the 68.99. You can see that we basically closed at a new 52-week high, and you can see that we have a squeeze that is forming. You can see that the momentum indicator is trending above that midline, which is the blue line, and is also trending is also trading above that red line, which is the EMA, and I'll be looking for some continuation here. You can play it as a quick break of this 76.82, or perhaps you can wait for an inside day and perhaps this 21 exponential moving average to catch up with the price. Let me see if I have another name. I have MUSA, which is MUSA. And let me just recheck here in MarketSmith. I think MUSA is in the retail space. Yep, it's in the retail space. And then the last name is CLS. Let me just check that one pretty quickly so that we can move quickly. This is diversified operations. Okay, so let's start with MUSA. And you can see right here that we have a trending momentum indicator. We have some nice accumulation volume patterns, and we have a squeeze, and this is trending above the 21 exponential moving average. So basically the way to trade this in my style, it will be looking for a break above the 255, or preferably, I prefer, to be honest, just to buy as close to that 21 exponential moving average. So that way I can manage my risk using this low right here, or perhaps using these lows right here at this level. But if you prefer to buy breakouts, you have a really clean level right here at 255.70. And then the last name that I want to show you is this CSL, which is diversifies operations as the sector. And you can see right here that we have a squeeze. You can see that we are holding the 50 daily moving average. The momentum indicator is trying to get above the red line, which is good. And you can see that we're starting to challenge this 263.05 pivot level, and then the next level will be that 275 level right there. So those are the names that I have for you guys. Not a lot of names, but I do think that these are really strong setups. So I hope that they're really helpful for you, so that you can add them to your watch list, so that you have perhaps some other names, and you can add these, and then you can see which names look better. You can compare them. You can see what is it that you're watching, and you can use this as a learning experience so that you can become a better trader. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you're watching some different names, or if you want me to take a look at some of the names that you are watching. So thank you so much for taking some time of your day to watch the video. And I hope that you have an amazing trading week. Take care, guys. Peace. Bye-bye.